Money Talks with Charter Bank, a show about money and financial issues that affect you. One-to-one banking is how we measure success. Money Talks with Charter Bank. Hello everybody, I'm Rich Westfall, your host for Money Talks with Charter Bank. Welcome to the show this week. I think we've got a really great show. We have two wonderful guests, and we'll be talking about what is taking place now during the holiday season. As we go into the holiday season, our thoughts turn to those in need, those that are less fortunate, and during this time, it really stretches the capacity of our area nonprofits and charities. However, the two guests we have tonight have created a way to bridge the gap through publishing the Giving Back, a guide to giving and volunteering, as we all look for ways to help the less fortunate and to enrich the lives of others during the holiday season. So we're pleased to welcome Michael Sunderman, publisher of South Mississippi Living and the publisher of Giving Back.
Thanks, Rich.
Welcome, Michael. Happy to have you here. And also Todd Trenchard, the executive director of the Bacon-McCarty Foundation. And welcome, Todd.
Well, good to be here, Rich.
Yeah, it's nice to have you on our show since I've been on your show so many times.
That's right. That's right.
You're
a little reversing the roles here, but great cause, like you said, and it really just carries on a tradition. Michael and I have been coming up with some ideas over the years that have been very successful, but he's really the one that comes up with it and then calls me up, and before you know it, it takes hold. And I think this is really, like I was telling you before we came on the air, this is a tremendous resource for our local community.
Thanks, Todd. It is. Michael, tell us a little bit about you, so that obviously most of the viewers we have probably already know Todd. He's been on the air for many, many years and has been a real driving force in Jackson County. But how about you, Michael? Give us a little background on you and how you came up with the concept.
I've been publishing, Rich, for 30 years. We all met kind of about 20 years ago when we came in here to start the gaming magazines, Jackpot Magazine and Gaming News. But 8 years ago, about a year after Katrina hit, we started South Mississippi Living with the goal in mind to put out some good news. There's so many wonderful things that were happening after Katrina that I just don't think people were hearing enough of the good news, and they were hearing too much of the struggle. So we came up with a lifestyle magazine to really highlight and promote the people and the events that make living on the coast so special here. And then this project here came to me probably like in early November, maybe before that. Sue Suter from United Way came to us and said, we talked about doing this Giving Back guide a year or two ago, and we want to do it again. Could you help us out? And on very short notice, my staff and Sue's staff, with the help of Todd and our sponsors like IP and several other big sponsors, stepped in, and we put together a resource guide that highlights about 100 local charities, and also a resource guide to show you how you could use some of your talents as a volunteer in this community.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the outcomes that you hope to achieve with the Giving Back guide?
You touched on it earlier. This is the time of year when there's a lot of needs, and people don't have gifts or don't have food for the holiday gatherings. Within these 100 charities, there's probably a dozen that could help out a needy family. And there's different ways that we're asking our readers, 65,000 readers every month, to get involved and give what they can to help out these charities that are focused on those type of charities.
Well, it's not just giving; it's volunteering too.
It's volunteering.
It's getting up off your couch and going out and help serve food at soup kitchens. Help. Like the Angel Tree process for Salvation Army, ringing the bell, all of those things add up to.
Well, Todd's the Pied Piper of volunteerism in my mind, especially for Jackson County. If you ever go to his Bacon-McCarty golf tournament, I don't know how many volunteers he has there, but there seems to be a volunteer for every golf sign. That's a couple thousand, I swear. But volunteers are sort of the missing link in these events. Most of these charity events would not raise a dime or put any money to the bottom line if they had to pay, number one, for advertising, which we sponsor a lot of advertising in our magazine for charities.
Yep.
But if they had to pay staff or if they had to pay a team to help out with every event. So the only way for a volunteer or event to really raise net dollars is to get as many volunteers to help you out at an event as possible.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. What a great effort, Michael. Congratulations on putting that together in such a short time, covering so many agencies and having it out in the December edition of South Mississippi.
And it's wrapped up in plastic like a gift at Christmas time with the magazines.
It's beautiful. It is. So Todd, how about you? What was your role in working with Michael, and how will this help your agency, the Bacon McCarty Foundation?
Well, we're just looking for ways, Rich, like you said, to give back. I've always tried to stress that it's great if you give to Bacon McCarty, but really it's good that you give somewhere, you volunteer somewhere. And I think over the past 10, 12 years, we've promoted that real well, that we're all blessed. We can all give back in a certain way. Bacon McCarty is one of those ways, but we also represent, 35 agencies that we support. It was a way that we could choose out a few of them and do a little feature on them. So we chose the YMCA, the Salvation Army, our new health coalition that we're forming and getting off the ground, and our interactive center over here. But I think what Michael has done so well over the years is, I remember when Michael came on board, he really did want to stress that we want to help out nonprofits, let's promote that good news. And so I was quick to listen and sort of team up with Michael on some things. We've done Terrific Teen over the years, been very successful with that. We've done things with the Junior Clinic. We've done things with the magazine where we've helped bring people in maybe to his fold to help with sponsorships. By us putting our name on something, it helps bring others in Jackson County in. But South Mississippi Living Magazine has become really just a sort of staple, and I brought a couple of them over the years. Of course, he featured us, the Funding Fathers.
The Funding Fathers. Hold that up.
Yeah, hold that up and let you guys
the Funding Fathers. I think that was... that may have been the second one. I know the first one I have on my wall here, this back in the day where Holly Cunningham is our Terrific Teen.
First ever Terrific Teen.
Of the year. And now Holly is actually even working in the office, getting ready to graduate college. Of course, everybody was sort of astounded by the amount of money she raised when she was, 15 years old?
$300,000.
Unbelievable. That led to, meeting Elizabeth, and then before you know it, you saw these young, talented people stepping up. And I think, between that, the next year we have Ladarius here, who went off to Georgetown, and he's doing fantastic. I see his mother all the time, and those are the type of things that when you think out of the box, you can come up with things that maybe aren't a part of everyday life, and this is just another example of that. This is much needed in our community, and like we were just saying, next year we're going to have 200. But it does take, those sponsors to step up to the plate, and I know IP's always been one of those, obviously with us.
That's what I was going to say. Plus, you both work closely with IP, so it was a natural tie-in to have IP as one of the sponsors. Because they work so closely with you at Bacon McCarty through the Jolly and several other things, and also with you, Michael.
Well, when we did this, Rich, the first person I thought about when I talked to Shirley Roy, my Jackson County rep, and I said, Shirley, let's get a meeting with Todd. So we had a breakfast meeting in Phoenicia because Todd, he says think out of the box, but he believes in forming partnerships, and you can do more together than you can by yourself. So when you sit down with Todd, you sit down for a good listen.
A good listen.
But he's full of good ideas. So by the time we left, on a napkin, we had sketched out the format for this product. And then it was just a matter of getting the sponsor to commit to coming in here. And with Todd's help and a great sales team that we had, we sold enough money to make this viable for the magazine to insert 15,000 copies into the magazine and overrun a couple thousand more to put out at nonprofit agencies, offices and such.
Okay, I think that's great. And looking at the product, it is wonderful. What are some of the things that you have that you could do next year to make it even better?
Well, we touched on it. You give us 6 months out, and we can create a catalog. And we've already heard from a couple agencies that, hey, we didn't get in. And we even put a disclaimer on here that said, hey, please, we apologize ahead of time. We couldn't get to everybody in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, you've been doing the December issue. I remember you had John Lucas one time as Santa Claus.
Yep.
You had the Deschers on the cover, with obviously the McDonald's Corporation and stuff. And I think that's how our conversation started. What are you going to do this December?
And Sue wanted to do it, and then she said, well, if you need more time, let's postpone until the spring. And I said, well, then we lose the effectiveness of the holiday season. This it has to be in December, which forced our hand to work a lot faster than we wanted to on this thing. But again, when you have a good team like we do at the magazine, we get done pretty quick.
Yeah, and it's a perfect time too, because it allows people to think about their charitable giving, the tax implications to that. So it really does. It provides a good catalyst for everyone to begin thinking about charitable giving and the tax benefits that provides, plus all the people that are going to be helping.
At our house, what we do with our kids is everyone decides what we want to help out. And like the last 2 years, we've adopted a homeless camp with the help of Jamie Bates in Gulfport. And so we went out and we bought them tents and sleeping bags and lighters and warm jackets and boots. And to me, that's the best gift we give all year. We're fortunate we can give gifts to each other anytime we want. So Christmas to our family means let's help out someone that really needs it.
Yeah. And Todd, when just carrying that charitable giving thought a little further, what advice would you have to tell someone on what charities to choose? Who do you think's the best, and what is some of the advice that you might have to give?
Well, after the storm, obviously we had a lot of charities pop up and come in and go away. You can never go wrong with those ones that have been here for a long time, but always do your due diligence, check into it.
501c3.
No question. You can go on Secretary of State's website. You can look at, how they've reported, how much goes for this, how much goes for that. That's not a buy and all, definite way to choose one. The best way is to get out and get involved, like you said.
Yeah.
Go and, a lot of people don't think that, they think that you have to be asked to serve on a board. If you call an agency and say, I'm very passionate about it, they're usually looking for, people to serve. I didn't know that when I first came here, and you start seeing the need. But let me just stress, I don't know if we've just got about a minute?
About a minute.
I wanted to stress just the importance of what Michael's done with this magazine. And what I think we did so well with Baco McCarty years ago was realize that you could have all these nonprofits out there, but if you didn't take them out into the community and put them out through either television, through magazines, through different venues, they weren't going to be able to do it themselves. So what we've been able to do so well is think out of the box like this, put up some money, but feature, like you said, 100 agencies that could not do this.
They could not afford to do it.
Yeah.
So that's just another way of thinking how you build capacity, how you build a successful community. And kudos to Michael, because there's no telling how many throughout the year, with it be, Go Red for Women, to, we've done this with Baco McCarty for years. And if there's a big event, you never say no. You always give that spot, if you can. And that's a great business model to have when you're.
Oh yeah, absolutely, I agree. I think it's just a wonderful thing that you guys, and Michael, the effort that you put into it, and the stories that you have written about each of the agencies really give it a one-to-one feel, and you get to know the agencies as you read through it. Great job on that.
That was Lynn Lofton, our editor's thing. She didn't want to just list or all these things. She wanted to break out some and really kind of tug at your heart and try to drive that response.
Good. Well, that sort of brings us to the end of our first segment. We want to thank you for viewing. Please stay tuned as we continue our conversation with Michael and Todd here on Money Talks with Charter Bank.
If our lives are getting so much better, why has banking fallen so far behind with monthly fees and bad service?
Welcome to Megabank. Please hold.
Welcome to Kasasa. Free checking with monthly rewards, refunds on ATM fees, and your choice of cash, music, and extra money to save. Upgrade to a free Kasasa account today. Carried locally at Charter Bank. Do you, Casasa?
Welcome back, everybody, to Money Talks with Charter Bank. We're very happy to have our two guests with us tonight, Michael Sunderman, publisher of South Mississippi Living, and Todd Trenchard, the executive director of Baco McCarty Foundation. Todd, let's start with you. I'm going to throw you a fastball, your curveball, fastball, forkball, whatever. And you know, Michael mentioned that he's mentioned several ways that South Mississippi Living works and contributes to charities, and has for years. How has Michael and the staff at South Mississippi Living assisted Baco McCarty?
Well, I know them all personally, have over the years. Lynn was one of the first people I met, actually right after the storm. I mean, and I think she was a freelance writer at the time. But again, with, I guess, going out the sort of the clickets, the going to the parties and things like that, we've sort of even turned this into an ongoing thing at Rotary, where we find you if you get in South Mississippi Living magazine.
Oh yeah, so, you get fined $5.
Well, it's the way we've learned how to raise money doing that. But like I said, again, what Michael's done so well is help promote nonprofit giving across the coast. And here we are at Baco McCarty, and that's sort of what our gist is too. And you know, coming at the events that we put on, Michael's always there, whether it be him and Mary taking the photos or having John there taking the photos. You know, that's an important part of putting on, you know, events like that. There's so many people back from the day when we first met that are now in the magazine on a regular basis. It actually has helped nonprofits, but it's also helped businesses go out and promote their services coastwide.
Absolutely.
And by doing that, they have more money, so they can, you know, donate to different places. So I think, again, Michael's a perfect example of the perfect type of media partner that you want, one that gives back. And I've always thought that we're a nonprofit, but you have to think of it like a professional, like a business. And how do you take that out into the community? And you know, this is something that sits on a table for a month. I mean, that's a unique
that's some
asset
shelf
there.
life.
Instead
Absolutely.
of it has something that you know, TV can't do, something that newspaper can't do. And there's a place for TV, like right now, it's, you know, it's us live, and you can see that. But when you have something sitting on a table, you may be sitting in a doctor's office, you're reading through this, and you never know who it's going to reach. And like I said, I have been in many offices where I'll come in and look over, and there's you and I.
That actually happened to me in the doctor's office. I'm sitting down, and I saw this edition. It just come out. It was sitting on the table over there, and a lady was sitting next to it, and she looked at me, looked down at the thing, and looked back at me, and I went, yeah. Right. So that's pretty neat how that happened.
It's so important that, you know, we think like that you need to get out your message into venues like this. And we've got such a great, you know, this television station is where I started all those years ago. Michael, I mean, you could mention the LOXs, the Bobby Edwards with XXV. Those different partners, they all give back, and that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a really good mix for our community.
Yeah. Well, Michael, I think that's a perfect testament to the work that you guys have done. I know that I've worked with you for many, many years, professionally and in a volunteer standpoint, going back to the creation of Cruising the Coast.
Exactly.
You were a part of that marketing committee that helped put that whole effort together. So that really is something I think that is your hallmark in your ability to give back. You produced several pieces for me when I was with the Gulf Coast Community Foundation, for the foundation, very successful marketing pieces. So you've really touched a lot of lives in a great way. Not only that, you produce a first-class lifestyle magazine for South Mississippi. I didn't
15,000 free copies, and people ask, you know, how we do it without charging for them, and we always say it's from our sponsors, our advertisers.
Right.
Some people say, well, gosh, there seems to be a lot of advertising in that magazine. I said, and we need it. We need it to put out 15,000 copies in 500 locations to reach 67,000 readers a month. It takes a lot of money to pay that printing bill.
I can tell you this: if I'm going to go out and eat, I'm looking in your magazine because of your restaurant section and shopping. I mean, you really do a great job.
In our click section, Todd, you know, the kind of the out and about photos in the back.
Right.
It's really, my editor doesn't want to hear this, but it's really people go there first.
Yeah.
When they pick up our magazine, they go to the back to see who's out, at what event and who's with who before they go back and read the stories. And that's another way we can help events. We help charity on the front side by giving them space to promote an event, and then we follow up by covering that event with clicks and publish it the following month to give them another shot. Saying, hey, just get that name out there. And Todd knows it's all about getting that brand name out there and that event name out there, and let people know what kind of fun they missed.
Right.
The next year, get your date and get to that event. It's a great time.
That's that because you may be in clicks. You
may
never
be
know.
in click.
I know there was another thing I want to touch on. It's not just the nonprofit sector that this magazine has helped benefit. I know I did a story one time working up from the depths, talking about my struggles with alcoholism. It's when I was at M&M Bank, and we had some really good photographs and stuff like that. But I got more calls from that, from people that had loved ones that had problems with alcohol and things like that. In fact, I know you called me several times years later. We're talking about Home of Grace now. Magazines and stuff like that, when you have good writers that take the time to write it down and pen it right, really can touch people. And I've had, like I said, many a parent, how did you find out? Well, right here in this magazine. It might be 5 years ago. They still have that magazine, and it touched their head.
Yeah.
So, it's also a social responsibility that, magazines and the media has to make a better community. It's not always just the good stories with nonprofits. These are people that might need help. And
Absolutely.
like I said, I know that's something that personally I was a part of and glad that I did that. People said, why do you do these stories? I said, well, no one else will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
we love it when we say things like that, but we love it when people say, we love your magazine, or I saw a story about so-and-so. But our goal, again, we have a lot of goals in this magazine, but was to really make people think about the coast as one entity, not 3 counties. And that's why we put our magazines almost equally in number to 3 counties. And there's a One Coast coalition now, and they're kind of doing the same thing, and I applaud that because we've got to work together to get the big things done on the coast. Whether it be tourism rich or nonprofits like you've got to think bigger, and you've got to get volunteers from all over the coast and raise dollars from all over the coast to put it in a big bucket and then get it to the right people.
Yeah. You've done some great things. What do you think? What's coming up in the next few issues with South Mississippi Living?
We always theme our issues. In fact, we just did a photo shoot this morning. We're featuring fitness and financial successes.
Oh, right.
For January. January is sort of the time of the year, where all right, I'm going to lose those 10 pounds, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to manage my life and money better. So we're featuring that. In February, we roll into a romance and wedding issue, which is huge. And in March will be our 100th issue of South Mississippi Living.
Wow.
In March will be 100th issue. But we're also featuring a special section on the Home of Grace, what Todd talked about.
It'll be the 50th year.
50th year for Home of Grace.
Yep.
And I personally had no idea how large that campus was. I thought it was just a small church or facility. I had no idea the amount of people that went through there. And some of the alumni, I don't want to name names, but some of the alumni that have gone through there and have now been very generous in contributions.
Yeah.
It's sort of a who's who of the coast that,
Right.
not that they've been there personally, but they've had a family member that's gone through drug and alcohol treatment,
Right.
or a loved one, or just someone they know in business. And that place has touched so many lives and changed so many lives that we're very proud to be associated with them and putting out a 50th anniversary special section
Yeah,
with them.
absolutely. I think that's great. So Todd, what's new for you? What's coming down the pipeline for Baco McCarty?
I don't know.
Everything.
I mean, it's not, actually, it's nonstop. Right now, obviously, the Christmas season. We're getting ready to announce the 12 days of Christmas, where we're going to do something each day for those needy people. But we'll start announcing this year the Coast 200 instead of the Coast 100.
Oh, it's gotten
We're
bigger.
grown, so
doubled
we'll
in size.
now do the Coast 200. Of course, the Jolly each year is one of the most anticipated events over here in our county, and of course we're partners on the Junior Clinic. We've got Rackets for Ronald, the big tennis tournament for Ronald McDonald House.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That we're sort of the title sponsors of. So it's never a dull moment. it takes a lot of effort. It's worth it. I've been saying to everybody this last year, I'm getting tired, and so
You've done a lot. You deserve to be tired. Yeah.
you wake up one day, your hair is gray. It's not quite
Well, this is
gotten
just
to your
virtually
chin
fair.
yet, but it has been a very rewarding thing personally, and just to be that small little person that went through a place like the Home of Grace and can live this Cinderella life out in the community to help little things, and then be here for the 50th to, help the Home of Grace celebrate that. It's sort of surreal, but you meet good people here on the coast. I never knew there was a place like this before, and you run across people like you, and
And Michael.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I guess we all connected with something with golf originally. Now Michael's a little bit better golfer than me,
And me too. Yeah.
has those special clubs made in some country I never even heard of.
Yeah, that's right.
Mine, just as long as they got a hit on
Well,
it.
tell us a little bit about the 12 days of Christmas that you have coming up. I think that's a pretty neat thing.
Well, it's just looking at something that was a little bit unique and different, and so each day what we're going to be doing is giving a check to a different either agency or individuals in our local community. We've got Santa Claus lined up to come over to the building. We're going to go over to the exceptional school to see the kids there.
Yeah.
It's just something that you can do and take that time and take the initiative, and that could change. It could end up being the 20 days of Christmas. But
it depends on how early you start.
like I said, always think of something new. Never do the same thing over and over again. Think out of the box. Take a chance, and if it doesn't work, dust off and try again.
Yeah. Well, Michael, we've got the magazines here, and they're beautiful. Both the Giving Back section and the December South Mississippi Living edition itself. How can someone get their hands on a copy?
We have 505 locations here on the coast. You can go to our website, smliving.net. Just tag over to distribution, and there's a complete PDF of all the spots there.
Plus, you can read the magazine online.
You can read us online. Everything's online. Everything's live. You
Just
can click on
click
any
through
ad and hyperlinks to that business. That's what the business love about that magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the website again?
www.smliving.net.
Okay, good. And Todd, how about you? How does someone, if they're interested in volunteering or contributing to Baco McCarty, how do they get in touch with you?
www.bacomccarty.org. And of course, we're on all the social media little websites, Facebook, those type things, Twitter. I don't understand all that stuff, but we've got people that do. So, again, I think that, again, if someone calls me on the phone, I answer it all day long. I used to say that I don't answer phone numbers. Well, during Christmas, I do.
Yeah.
Because you never know who's going to call you. So if you have my number and you call, I'm going to answer it today instead of looking at it and thinking it could be somebody trying to sell something. During Christmas, you don't have that luxury. There's people that are really needy, and you may not be able to help them, but you can pass them off to someone else.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think this is thank you so much for being here tonight, Michael, with South Mississippi Living, and Todd Trenchard from Baco McCarty Foundation. The work that you guys have done is really exemplary. The magazine's beautiful, continues to be beautiful. I said at one point it can't get better, and it got better. So congratulations.
Thanks, Rich. It's good to be amongst friends, too.
Yeah, it is.
That's right.
It's wonderful. It's like being in our living room.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it,
right.
here?
Yeah.
And thank you all for joining us tonight for this episode of Money Talks with Charter Bank. I encourage you to pick up a copy of the December issue of South Mississippi Living and the Giving Back Guide. Go through that, and I think it's worth your while to maybe go online and take a look at what Todd's doing at Baco McCarty and see the great things that are going on there. So thank you for joining us tonight. Join us again next week and every week at 7:30 on WKFK Channel 7. Money Talks with Charter Bank, a show about money and financial issues that affect you. One-to-one banking, it's how we measure success. Money Talks with Charter Bank.
We're always looking for better ways to do things. But with some banks, better for them isn't always better for you.
You've reached Megabank. Press 1 to hear your current balance. Press 2 to hear these options again.
Introducing free Kasasa checking. When you do stuff for us, like swipe your debit card or get e-statements, we make it even better for you with cash back and refunds on ATM fees. Kasasa, carried locally at Charter Bank. Do you, Kasasa?